All right, besties, we are back with another YouTube video. If you don't know me, you don't know my channel, hello, welcome. My name is Katrina Kofed. I'm an anti-diet health coach. I have a master's in human nutrition, and I help women heal their relationships with food, overcome emotional eating, and create healthy habits that last for life. So, very excited about today's video. Let's dive in. Okay, so today's video is really holiday preparation, how to navigate the holiday season and how to stick to your healthy habits, how to avoid falling into emotional eating patterns, how to basically avoid coming to January 1st and feeling like a bloated baked potato that hasn't moved her body in a month. So that's quite the analogy, but you guys know what I'm getting at. And I solicited some questions from you all from TikTok and Instagram, and I think YouTube too. So I have a whole screenshot list of questions that you guys asked when it comes to what are your biggest holiday struggles. We've got some good ones in here: binge drinking, alcohol, how to deal with family, how to navigate healthy eating when it's the holiday season. So let's dive in. I have a really great comment here when it comes to their biggest struggle. So this person said, my family's very uptight and judgmental, so I don't see them often. Even when I see them, finding things to talk about is hard. So I think a lot of us can relate to that feeling of feeling like our families maybe are toxic, maybe they're not super supportive, maybe if there's a lot of drama or, you know, past trauma or history, right, within your family, you've chosen to kind of cut ties with them, whatever. Maybe you have a bit of a strained relationship, whatever it is. And if you have a great relationship with your family, appreciate that, enjoy it, and don't take it for granted, because it's a really wonderful thing to have, and it can really take a strain when it's not there, right? So at the end of the day, we're gonna have to deal with people, especially family, probably around the holidays, and we might not always want to. So how do you deal with people who might be toxic, more dramatic, maybe just don't support you, maybe they're not very positive people? That can be really hard, right? So one of the biggest things, I think, number one, wherever possible, if it's appropriate for you to do so, limit your time with these types of people, right? Like, we all know this type of person or this type of relative who never really has anything positive to say, is always bringing others down, maybe kind of condescending, rude questions, you know, backhanded compliments, that type of thing. If you have to be around these people, yeah, I mean, I have a few different approaches I like to take. This really depends on your personality type. It depends on who the person is. It depends on what you want to do, right? There's kind of the smile and nod and just like don't say anything. At the end of the day, you guys, I always tell my clients, like, you're the only one who has to live in your head, so make sure it's a positive place to be. If other people are starting drama with you, if they're behaving a certain way, whatever, like, we sometimes have to engage, but often it's like you can just let that person be their own negative, toxic self, and we don't have to engage in it too much, right? So you can kind of just keep your distance energetically, put up a bit of an energetic wall around you. I think that can be really helpful, especially if you're someone who finds themselves easily kind of getting sucked into that negativity, right? Or feeling really hurt by it. That's super common, especially if you are an empath, if you're very empathetic, you really cling onto other people's energies, right? Just remember, you're your own person. You can be in control of how you want to feel. And this one occasion when you have to see these people who you would prefer not to see doesn't have to determine the way you feel for the rest of the week, right? So I know it's not an ideal situation, but remember, at the end of the day, I want you to protect your energy, protect your happiness, protect your peace, whatever it means that you have to do that. You know, whether you just swing by this family event for a couple hours or whether you leave early from this dinner, you know, whatever it is, put on a movie so you guys don't have to talk as much. Do things that mean you will protect your peace. That's my biggest 2 cents with that. Moving on to some other great questions. So here's one: how to introduce healthy activity into family gatherings. So how to introduce healthy activity into family gatherings instead of sitting around and eating for hours. Okay, this is great. We just celebrated the American holiday of Thanksgiving, which, for those of you who aren't too familiar, is basically an entire day of sitting around and eating, more traditionally. Obviously, every family can do this differently. Maybe you do Friendsgiving, that's a different occasion, right? Point is, a lot of holidays revolve around sitting around, eating, drinking, eating desserts, having lots of more and extra indulgent food than you ever normally would throughout the rest of the year. So let's spice it up. Let's add something that is going to get everyone moving. I love to encourage a family walk, right? If you live in a place where it's safe to go for a walk outside around the neighborhood, and obviously the weather's not like below freezing and, you know, everyone can get bundled up and go outside, I strongly encourage you to do so. And even if your family, you know, I know not everyone's family would be up for this, but you can kind of be like, hey, why don't we go for a walk after dinner or before the meal, you know, whatever it is. It's a great way for people to have something to do and connect about, especially if the alternative is just everyone would sit around and watch football or just like do nothing and just be really full and stuffed all day. It's nice to have something to do together. So grab everyone you can at your family gathering with your friends, whatever, and be like, hey, let's go for a walk around the neighborhood, right? And if no one's on board, go by yourself. You're gonna feel a lot better. Your mental health is gonna be in a much better place. And it just feels really good to move your body gently before or after a big meal, right? I know over Christmas break, there's like, everyone has time off, which is so wonderful. It's a great time to relax, but at some point you kind of get a little antsy. So it's great to get out, just move your body, get some fresh air, even if it's cold. Put on a warm coat, I live in the Pacific Northwest, so we put on our rain boots, you put on your raincoat, you grab a beanie, and you get outside. So that's what I encourage you all to do. Even if no one else is on board, get yourself outside because you are gonna feel much better for it. That's my biggest advice. I would say go for a family walk. You know, if your family is into sports, if you have a basketball hoop, you know, you can shoot some ball, whatever. Football, whatever you want to do. Just get outside and play a little bit. You know, I know the Wii Fits are like from 10 or 15 years ago, but if you have one of those, dig it up. And if you're with the family, that's a really fun thing to do, right? So playing an interactive game, other games that are more active, something like Just Dance, can be really fun too. So get creative with it. You can always play a board game too, you know, bring the kids outside if they're young children in your family, play with them outside, play some yard games, whatever it is you need to do to get people moving. And if your family isn't too supportive or they're like, I don't want to do that, you know, just be like, hey, it would mean a lot to me if you would come on this walk with me for like 20 minutes, right? And if they don't respond to that, again, go by yourself. You're gonna feel better for it and it's worth it. Okay, I have another great question here. So this person really struggles with emotional eating and she says, it's really just restricting to eat a holiday meal and then being around family and the holiday expectations and then overeating or stress. So obviously the month of December, end of November can bring a lot of extra stress, whether it's you're going to be around family you would prefer not to see, whether it's you have a lot more social engagements than you normally would. Maybe you have kids and it's busy with their school and getting them prepared for the holiday and doing, you know, gift shopping and getting everything ready if you guys are traveling, you know. All of these things, the holidays are a wonderful time of year, but they can also bring a lot of added stressors, especially if there's a bit of an interesting family dynamic or you don't love going home or seeing your family, right? So it's a lot of mixed feelings that can occur, and a lot of that leads to stress eating, overeating, emotional eating, restricting, and then binging, and all of that is gonna make you feel like crap, right? So let's avoid doing that. Let's avoid that happening. When it comes to specifically restricting to have or to feel like you're indulging in a holiday meal later, the biggest thing I can say to that is do not restrict, okay? Restricting leads to binging, restricting leads to overeating, restricting leads to stress eating later on because your body still needs food, even if you're trying to tell yourself you don't, or you're trying to tell yourself you're saving up your calories for later on in the day. It's not gonna help you later in the day when it gets to 5 p.m. and you're starving and dinner's not for another hour and you go mow down an entire bag of chips and you feel gross and horrible about what you did, right? I strongly encourage you and urge you to have a balanced breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and then whatever the holiday, obviously normally the holiday meal is dinner, right? But let's say you're having a cookie swap night. Don't skip dinner because you're gonna have a lot of high calorie cookies. Have a small healthy dinner so that you still have room for your delicious dessert, and then indulge mindfully, right? So this also comes into what I always tell my clients, like, don't eat foods that you don't truly enjoy. What's my example? I like peanut butter flavored things, but peanut butter cookies are just like, they don't do that much for me. Like, they're fine, but they're not like 10 out of 10. So for me, when it comes to desserts, I'm very selective. Cookies are high calorie foods and that's totally fine, but I'm not gonna eat cookies that I don't even like that much, right? So for me, I'm gonna be having double chocolate chip cookies, regular chocolate chip cookies. I'm a big chocolate girl, so that's what I will be choosing, not like things I don't even like that much, right? So same thing for you. When it comes to the holiday meals, don't feel like you have to take everything that's on the buffet table or that's laid out for dinner. Eat the foods that you enjoy. And this gets into food pushing, right? A lot of people are food pushers. If someone's trying to push food on you, you know, you can say, I'm full. You can say, oh my gosh, I wish I could eat more, but I would love to take home some leftovers and try it tomorrow. You know, if it's your great aunt Martha that made her special pie and you're like, I don't really want this special pie, don't have it, have a tiny slice and just eat a bite, you know, if you really need to appease whoever it is that made this food. But my point is, you can hold your boundaries around food. You can hold your boundaries around your healthy habits, your healthy eating, you know, when it comes to the walking, when it comes to staying hydrated, right? Like, just because it's the holiday season doesn't mean we abandon ship and forget about our healthy lifestyle habits, right? So, and this also, just because it's the holidays doesn't mean we restrict and then binge, okay? You have balanced meals, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Usually the holiday dinner is gonna be more indulgent, but guess what? When you are nourishing your body regularly throughout the day, you're not gonna have that urge to overeat later at night because you're not starving, right? So be mindful about your food choices. Choose nourishing foods, but also choose the foods that you really enjoy. The holidays come around once a year. It's not like you're gonna be eating mashed potatoes and gravy and mac and cheese year round, right? So enjoy the food. Make mindful decisions that are gonna feel good for you. And if you need help with this is exactly what I work on with my clients. If it sounds like, okay, enjoy the food, that's much easier said than done, that's what I created the Method Healthy Habits for Life program for. That's what I do with my clients in one-on-one coaching. If you would like more information about that, all the links are below. I would love to work with you and help you heal your relationship with food so that the holidays don't have to be this crazy stressful thing, right? So many of my clients tell me, like, the holidays used to be so stressful for me because I used to restrict and then binge, and now I feel happy and good and confident around the holiday season. I feel like I can wear the dresses or wear, you know, the holiday outfits that I want to wear and feel really confident in them. We just had Thanksgiving last week, and one of my clients messaged me and was like, this is the first Thanksgiving I've ever had where I felt confident in my food choices. I felt good in my body. I didn't wake up the next day feeling bloated and overstuffed like I ate too much. And I made food choices that were really tasty and satisfying. Like, that's what I want for all of you, and that's exactly what I help my clients do. So if that sounds like something you need, link is below for all the details. Okay, let's talk about alcohol, because that is a huge topic. I got multiple requests to talk about binge drinking around the holidays. So we all know that general indulgent behavior increases during the holiday season when it comes to food, more indulgent food, more desserts, more alcohol, more parties, you know, just a lot more food, drinks, everything, and a lot less movement, a lot less outdoor time, probably less exercise, right? Less self-care. It's a really busy time of year for most people. So a lot of things go up, a lot of like not so positive things are increasing, and our beneficial, you know, self-care habits, our healthy habits are probably going down a bit. So it's time to even that back out. But one of these biggest problems, I guess you could say, in this puzzle is the binge drinking that is so common this time of year. So again, this kind of comes back to what I was saying earlier about it really depends on who you're friends with, what is the culture in your family if you're spending time with family. Some families drink a lot of alcohol, some families don't drink at all, right? So obviously if you're in a family where it's very normalized to be consuming a lot of alcohol during the holiday season, chances are you're, one, definitely going to be exposed to it, but also two, you're probably going to be a lot more likely to drink more because that's just the norm with your family. So if that's the case and you would like to not be doing that, here is your permission slip to not partake in alcohol if you don't want to, right? So again, my personal kind of boundary with alcohol is that if I'm not gonna enjoy it that much, then I don't really wanna be drinking. So my general, I like to have gentle guidelines, right? Boundaries around healthy habits, and this is what I teach in the Method. It's what I teach all my clients as well. So for instance, my personal guideline and boundary around alcohol is that most times, generally, I don't drink at home. So for me, I like the taste of some alcohol, but it's not like that amazing for me. But what I do enjoy is the feeling of being tipsy or being drunk from time to time. However, I hate being hungover. So those things are kind of at odds with each other. So the guideline that I've created to combat that and still have my fun is that if I'm out at a bar with friends, if I'm at a gathering or a dinner or a party or something with friends, then I will have a few drinks, and that's really fun and I have an amazing time, and that's it, right? If I'm at home, generally I don't drink because it's a great separation for me to have. If I'm at home, I'm already enjoying myself, right? Like I already feel good. It's not really worth it to me to have that alcohol. So all of this to say is it's up to you to create your boundary, your guideline with holiday drinking. If you're friends with people, if your coworkers, your family, whoever, you know, that you live with, that you spend a lot of time with, if they love to drink, it's gonna be a lot harder for you to do this. So that's why I would say, don't feel like you have to refrain from social events unless you want to. If you're still going out to bars, if you're meeting up with friends and family who drink a lot, literally opt for the alcohol-free option. Bring some seltzers, bring some fruit juice that you can mix in, make a mocktail so it's not like, oh, you're just having water, like how boring, you know what I mean? If you're at a bar and you don't really want other people to know you're drinking, or that you're not drinking, excuse me, ask the bartender for just a soda water with some lime. Like, no one's gonna ask you what you're having. Most people aren't gonna be that inquisitive about it, right? So at the end of the day, it comes back to the boundaries thing. You're the one who has to deal with the hangover. You're the one who has to deal with feeling crappy if you were binge drinking and you feel not good the next day. I don't know about you guys, but I get gnarly hangovers at the ripe old age of 26. So best believe I'm very mindful about my consumption, and I definitely have to put up my boundaries, right? A lot of people are pushy about alcohol. People sometimes will get weird if you say you're not drinking. So that's why I would say, you know, take stock of what is the environment. You know, do you want to be drinking? If not, okay, great. What are you going to say to someone if they're like, well, why aren't you drinking? You can be like, I don't want to tonight. That's as simple as that, right? Gives me a hangover. I have stuff to do in the morning. I have an 8 a.m. meeting, you know, whatever it is. And again, this is very situational, right? But don't be afraid to put down your foot. You, at the end of the day, are the only one living in your head. You're the only one living in your body. You're going to be the one experiencing that hangover. You're going to be the one feeling crappy, or maybe it's that you get really drunk and then you text a bunch of people that you probably shouldn't, right? Whatever it is, you're the one who's going to be experiencing the repercussions. So it's up to you to decide what to do with your body and what not to do with it, right? So stand firm in that. Be polite but firm. Tell people you're not drinking. It's fine. And when it comes to just having a more moderate alcohol consumption, maybe for you it's, okay, I know I have these 3 holiday parties or events coming up. I want to have 3 drinks at each occasion. That's fine. I'm okay with that, right? So kind of decide in advance, what are your opportunities for drinking? Do you want to drink at those occasions? And then how much will you drink, right? Like, I know I'm going to a holiday party. I'm probably going to have quite a few drinks throughout the night, and I'm okay with that, right? Like, I'm planning for it. I know it's going to be going down. During the weekdays, I'm not really drinking unless I'm out with friends, right? So again, I have my guidelines. It's up to you to create yours. Oh, and I did want to add to this because one of the comments was specifically about binge drinking, struggling with binge drinking, and then eating too much and feeling like crap the next day. Okay, so the drunchies, what we may lovingly refer to them as, when you get really drunk or you maybe get a little tipsy and you're kind of hungry, or you're like, oh my gosh, pizza sounds amazing, chips sound amazing, a sandwich, a frozen bag of pot stickers, whatever it is, you're like, I have to eat right now and it's 1 a.m. That's a great way to wake up in the morning feeling bloated and just overfull and not good in your body, right? So certainly if you've been out drinking all night and there's a lot of alcohol in your body, I recommend that you eat something. It's definitely gonna help with the hangover in the morning. It's gonna help your body metabolize the alcohol. It's gonna keep you from feeling like complete crap in the morning. However, if it's a big problem for you that you binge drink and then you emotionally eat, or not even emotionally eat, but you just drunk eat afterwards later in the night, number one solution, of course, is to reduce your consumption of alcohol, right? And if that's like, you're like, I don't want to not get drunk. Okay, fair enough. But I encourage you to consider, how do you want to feel in the morning, right? Like, that's why, that was a big part of why I personally cut back on my drinking, and because alcohol is like terrible for your body. So it was multifactorial, but a big part for me was that I get horrible hangovers and I don't want to deal with that. I don't want to feel like crap for the entire next day. So I'm very selective now about when I'm going to get drunk, because I know what the repercussions are. All of that to say, if you still want to get drunk, if you want to have quite a few drinks, but you want to avoid the drunk eating, make sure you have a balanced meal before your drinking starts, and then make sure you stop drinking an hour or 2 before you go home, okay? And if you are genuinely hungry, which chances are, if you had dinner at 6 and you're out till 12 or 1, you know, in the morning, you're probably gonna need to eat something. So have something ready at home, grab a slice of pizza. There's nothing wrong with some 2 a.m. pizza. Like, it's a great thing, it tastes amazing, and it gets the job done very well in keeping you from feeling like crap the next day, right? But if you're coming home and having like 3 containers of whatever, you know, Chinese food takeout leftovers you have, it's a recipe for feeling like crap the next day. So certainly encourage you to have something small to eat, but definitely stop drinking. Like, cut yourself off an hour before you know you're gonna go home, or an hour before you wanna go to bed, because that's a great way to kind of, 1, reduce your likelihood of hangover, but also 2, keep you from drunk eating, because hopefully you won't make those decisions if you're not quite so intoxicated, okay? Finally, I mean, it comes back to the first thing I said, which is don't drink so much in the first place. The other thing too is, if this is a big problem for you, 1, I encourage you to get support. I help clients with this. 2, what you can do is kind of tell yourself, then, you know, before the night begins, whatever, before the drinking occasion begins, here are my intentions for how I want this evening to go. Here's how I want to feel at the end of the night. Here's the kind of choices I'm going to make throughout the night. I'm going to enjoy a few glasses of wine. I'm going to enjoy a few cocktails. I'm going to go out and have a fun time with friends. But I'm going to make mindful choices about what I eat, right? So be conscious about it. Say these things out loud to yourself. Write them down in a journal and say them out loud, right? When you bring attention to something, when you say, I want to make mindful choices around food tonight, even when I get home drunk, it's a lot more likely to happen. Whereas if you're like, okay, I'm getting drunk, if you're like, I'm going out with friends, I'm gonna have a great time, whatever, and you don't give a second thought to it until it's 2 a.m. and you're binge eating because you're drunk, it's a recipe for disaster, okay? So be mindful about that. Set these intentions for yourself, and if you need more help with this, I would love to support you with this. Okay, everyone, thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video. I would love to hear from you in the comments. Were these tips helpful for you? What will you be applying this holiday season? And what are your biggest struggles during the holidays, and how can you approach them differently? If you would like some free coaching in the comments, let me know what you're struggling with. Be specific so I can give you some feedback in the comments. As always, please like and subscribe to my channel. We're almost at 100 subscribers, which is amazing. I would love to hear from you guys what other types of videos you want to see. More videos to come. I'm doing a Q&A as well that's already filmed, so I'll probably upload that after this video goes live because I want to address the holiday thing first. So thanks so much for watching, and I will see you soon.